My beard. My beard has been the topic of much discourse for the better part of my lifetime. Twisted, matted, and worn, much like the bones encased within the weathered and stretched skin carriage that's mine. I've battled undue ridicule as long as I care to remember, a life occupied with the accumulation of wealth and all of the trappings of had left me lonely and pained with longing. A longing that yearns for accepting words and glances from society at large, but also, much more specifically, from the fairest of them. A coloration mutation imposed upon my beard follicles had, at the earliest signs of puberty, turned what should have been a rich chestnut mane into a cruel jest of deepest blue. God, enjoying his own punchline all along, will regret what I have planned for his creation. Let the prank war begin.
Suddenly appeared before me, the only one my arms will ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me, and when I looked, the moon had turned
Plot fizz. Welcome to a quick little mini deal of an episode of the show that you most likely clicked on to listen to. Live from Smoke and Style, which is where James works.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about, like, maybe a conspiracy or a murder or
Nope.
UFO or something.
Mm-mm.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
So in this episode of See No, Hear No, Speak No, James says things to...
Hello.
Hi, I'm James.
I am Dave. Matt Damon.
Oh, man. So, since none of us knew who the fuck Bluebeard was, I thought that we might just do a quick little read-through of the story of the original Bluebeard, who was written by, who did I say, Mother Goose?
You said he was a Mother Goose story.
Yes, an original Mother Goose story, which Mother Goose used to be fucking terrifying.
Yes, sir. That's crazy shit. You know the German one?
Yeah, if you think the Brothers Grimm were... has their namesake says it's...
You got another storm coming.
Another storm coming? Is that a...
That's a thing.
Is
on
it?
the internet.
Is it on the internet? It's a thing.
It's a meme. I've seen it.
But not in real life.
Who knows?
Not in the world that you and I inhabit currently.
You don't know what I do.
You're right. Huh. So, the story of Bluebeard goes... There was some time ago a gentleman who was very rich. He had fine town.
Fine.
Ah, see, there's a picture in the middle of the paragraph, so it's kind of hard to read. He had fine town and country houses. His dishes and plates were all of gold or silver. His rooms were hung with damask, whatever the fuck that is. His chairs and sofas were covered with the richest silks, and his carriages were all gilt with gold in a grand style. Which really, I mean, big deal. Everybody's got some of that, right?
Yeah, man. I got the carriages all in the back.
I got the finest silks. Just...
And some damask or something, whatever you said.
That's still at the store, though. I was like, layaway, I guess. I don't need it now.
The fuck? I told you to pick that up before you came home today.
It's like, you know you're going to need it someday.
I told you we needed it today.
You just never know when for sure. Like, you said that before, and then you just completely forgot to ask me if I had picked up the damask.
Fucking useless.
But it happened that this gentleman had a blue beard. Like an actual, like, colored blue beard. Which made him so very frightful and ugly that none of the ladies in the parts where he lived would even venture to go into his company. I find that hard to believe. This man is dripping with money.
They never had one gold digger, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Not one lady was like,
because
well, he's rich.
Because the color of his beard is blue.
It's a little, he's got a weird-looking color, so fuck him.
I had an aqua mohawk for 3 years. I got laid.
Did
I didn't
you?
even have
That's
to pay
impressive.
people. Bluebeard asked... oh, wait. No, see, I skipped shit because it's still weird. Now, there was a certain lady of rank who lived very near him and had 2 daughters, both of them very beautiful, of very great beauty, even. Bluebeard asked the lady to bestow one of her daughters to him. But she left it up to the daughters to choose who it should be. But both the young ladies again and again said that they would never marry Bluebeard. Yet, to be civil, as they could, I guess, each of them said the only reason why she wouldn't have him was because she was loath to hinder her sister from the match, which would be such a good one for her. So they were both like, nah, my sister's like totally for you. And the other sister would be like, no, but you. Yeah, she's the one for you. So they were both...
Be like, no, I insist. Oh, no, I insist.
She's the one that wants to be filthy, stinking rich. No, she is.
I gotcha.
Still, the truth of the matter was, they could neither of them bear the thoughts of having a husband with a blue beard. And besides, they had heard of him having been married before to several wives, and nobody could tell what ever became of him. As Bluebeard wished very much to gain their favor, he asked the lady and her daughters, and some ladies who were on a visit to their house, to go with him to one of his country seats, which is, I guess, a country home estate type place, where they spent a whole week, during which they passed all their time in nothing but parties for hunting and fishing, music, dancing, and feasts. No one ever thought of going to bed, and the nights were passed in merrymaking of all kinds. In short, the time rolled on in so much pleasure that the youngest of the 2 sisters began to think that the beard which she had been so much afraid of was not so very blue, and that the gentleman who owned it was vastly civil and pleasing. Soon after their return home, she told her mother that she had no longer any dislike to accept of Bluebeard for her husband, and in very short time, they were married. About a month after the marriage had taken place, Bluebeard told his wife that he should be forced to leave her for a few weeks, as he had some affairs to attend to in the country. That's right, I got some ladies I have to go sleep with.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Some country, mud trucking, just
Sluts.
hot as fuck, Daisy Duke wearing. Bye. He desired her to be sure to indulge herself in every kind of pleasure, to invite as many of her friends as she liked, and to treat them with all sorts of dainties that it says dainties. I'm like, that's vague. That her time might pass pleasantly till he came back again. Here, he said, are the keys to the 2 large wardrobes. This is the key to the great box that contains the best plate, which we use for company. This belongs to my strong box where I keep my money, and this to the casket. Yeah, this to the casket, in which are all my jewels. That's where I keep my jewels.
That's a weird place to keep your jewels.
No,
but
man, you're like, you got to put them in their place. Be like, I'd bury you
if
just
I'm
whenever.
going to be buried with all my belongings, might as well get half the work out the way.
Here also is a master key to all the rooms in the house, but this small key belongs to the closet at the end of the long gallery on the ground floor. I give you leave, he said, to open or to do what you like with all the rest except this closet. This, my dear, you must not enter, nor even put the key into the lock for all the world. If you do not obey me in this one thing, you must expect the most dreadful punishments. She promised to obey his orders and in the most faithful manner, and Bluebeard, after kissing her tenderly, stepped into his coach and drove away. Wouldn't you ride away in a coach?
I mean, when is this taking place? Are cars a thing yet?
I was thinking like a football coach. When Bluebeard was gone, the friends of his wife did not wait to be asked, so eager were they to see all the riches and fine things she had gained by marriage, for they had none of them gone to the wedding, on account of their dislike of the blue beard of the bridegroom. I love that song. No worries. This is a shit show. Every time. Don't worry about that.
It's the least distracting sound we've had in an episode.
There are no dog barks. There's no babies grunting to poop. It's good. As soon as ever they came to the house, they ran about from room to room, from closet to closet, and then from wardrobe to wardrobe, looking into each with wonder and delight, and said that every fresh one they came to was richer and finer than what they had seen the moment before. At last they came to the drawing rooms, where their surprise was made still greater by the costly grandeur of the hangings, the sofa, the chairs, carpets, tables, sideboards, and looking glasses. That means mirrors. That's old speak for being able to see yourself in magic. The frames of these last were silver gilt, most richly adorned, and in the glasses they saw themselves from head to foot. In short, nothing could exceed the richness of what they saw, and they all did not fail to admire and envy the good fortune. I don't
That's a
like
weird way
I
to
don't
say
like
fortune,
words
but-
that are started on one line and then finished on the next. I don't.
Oh, it's one of them.
Yeah, it's a it's got
Oh, it's
a
all
hyphen.
hyphen.
Envy the good fortune of their friend. But all this time, the bride herself was far from thinking about the fine speeches they had made to her, for she was eager to see what was in the closet her husband had told her not to open. Because of course she was. Ladies, right, James? Am I right?
You're right.
Every time. So great, indeed, was her desire to do this that, without once thinking how rude it would be to leave her guest, she slipped away down a private staircase that led to this forbidden closet, and in such a hurry that she was 2 or 3 times in danger of falling downstairs and breaking her neck.
Stupid idiot. Right?
How does this fucking story know what she would have broken had she fallen?
She told them.
What if... Oh. That's fair. When she reached the door to the closet, she stopped for a few moments to think of the order her husband had given her, and how he had told her that he would not fail to keep his word and punish her very severely if she did not obey him. But she was so very curious to know what was inside that she made up her mind to venture in spite of everything.
Bitches.
She then, with a trembling hand, put the key into the lock, and the door straight flew open. That says straight flew open. Like,
flew open.
not flew straight open. That just sounds like you.
Man,
I
that
thought.
straight flew open.
Exactly. I'm like, all right. So I know exactly how it opened, flew. As the window shutters were closed, she at first could see nothing. But in a short time, she saw that the floor was covered with clotted blood, on which the bodies of several dead women were lying.
I'm guessing that's his wives.
These were all the wives whom
Yep.
Bluebeard had married and killed, one after another. At the sight of this, she was ready to sink with fear, and the key to the closet door, which she held in her hand, fell to the floor. When she had gotten a little bit better over her fright, she took it up, locked the door, made haste back to her own room that she might have little time to get into a humor to amuse her company. But this she couldn't do, so great was her fright at what had been seen. She had found that the key to the closet had gotten stained with blood from falling on the floor. She wiped it 2 or 3 times over to clean it, yet the blood kept on the same as before. She next washed it, but the blood didn't move at all. She then scoured it with brick dust, and after with sand. But in spite of all she could do, the blood was still there, for the key was a fairy who was Bluebeard's friend.
What? Wait. Okay.
Wow!
Where did that come from?
That's a revelation right there. The key was a fairy.
That Bluebeard was friends with somehow. Okay.
So that, as fast as she got the blood off of one side of the key, it came back on the other. Early in the same evening, Bluebeard came home, saying that before he had gone far on his journey, he was met by a horseman who was coming to tell him that his affair in the country was settled without his being present. Upon which his wife said everything she could think of to make him believe she was in transport of joy at his sudden return. The next morning, he asked her for the keys. She gave them to him, but as she couldn't help showing her fright, Bluebeard easily guessed what had been the matter. "How is it," said he, "that the key of the closet upon the ground floor isn't here?" "Is it not?" said the wife. "Then I must have left it on my dresser." My dressing table, even. It's even harder when half the word is at the very bottom of the page of a paragraph, and then I have to go back to the top of the page for ing table.
Oh, what the fuck?
Unless that's just some Chinese guy's table. Be sure to give... be sure you give it to me by and by, replied Bluebeard. After going a good many times backward and forwards as if she was looking for the key, she was at last forced to give it to Bluebeard. He looked hard at it and then said, "How came this blood upon the key? That sounds super gross."
How came this blood?
"I don't know. You tell me about your affairs in the country, asshole." "I'm sure I do not know," replied the poor lady, at the same time turning as white as a sheet. You do not know, said the Bluebeard. The Bluebeard. I added the "the" part. I don't know why I did. But I know
He
well.
is the Bluebeard.
I know well enough. You've been in the closet on the ground floor. Very well, madam. Since you're so mighty fond of this closet, you shall be sure to take your place among the ladies you saw there. His wife, who was almost dead with fear, now fell upon her knees, asked his pardon 1,000 times for her fault, and begged him to forgive her, looking all the time so very mournful and lovely that she would have melted any heart that was not harder than a rock. But Bluebeard only said, "No, no, madam. You shall die this very minute." "Alas," said the poor trembling creature, "if I must die, give me at least a little time to say my prayers." "I give you," replied the cruel Bluebeard, "after a half a quarter of an hour, but not a moment longer." When Bluebeard had left her to herself, she called her sister. I don't know how. This is way olden times.
Yeah, that's why.
But I guess they might all still be at the house, and like he's having like a on the sly talk with his lady. So she calls her sister, and after telling her, as well as she could for sobbing, that she had but a quarter of an hour to live. That's like 15 minutes, right? Half a quarter of an hour?
No, half of a quarter. A quarter would be 15, so like 7.5 minutes.
Jesus Christ, this guy. What a dick.
Yeah, for real.
Stupid looking beard, too.
Blue ass bitch.
That's right. "Prithee," said she, "Sister Anne," because that was her sister's name, "run up to the top of the tower and see if my brothers are not in sight, for they said they would visit me today, and if you see them, make a sign for them to gallop on as fast as they can." Her sister straight did. I like that.
Yo, her sister straight did, dog.
Yeah, straight did as she was desired, and the poor trembling lady every minute cried out to her, "Anne, Sister Anne, do you see anyone coming?" Her sister said, "I see nothing but the sun, which makes a dust, and the grass, which looks green." You're no fucking help, Anne.
No, I don't. But did you know that like the grass is like green?
It's like super bright outside.
Yeah, it's like foggy. It's pretty cool over here. How's it going over there?
Like I thought I saw a duck, but it was just a piece of trash. In the meanwhile, Bluebeard, with great cimeter in his hand, cimeter, no idea, bawled as loud as he could to his wife, "Come down at once, or I will fetch you. One moment longer, I beseech you," replied she, and again called softly to her sister, "Sister Anne, do you see anyone coming?" To which she answered, "I see nothing but the sun, which makes a dust, and the grass, which looks green. For fuck's sake, I will let you know." Bluebeard now again bawled out, "Come down, I say, this very moment, or I shall come to fetch you." "I'm coming indeed. I will come in one moment," sobbed his wretched wife. Well, now she's wretched. That's fucked up. She was all hot before. Now because she's
being a bitch, dude. She's not like coming down when he's asking her to. Like there's one simple thing.
I expected more of Mother Goose, is what I'm saying. I lost my spot. Oh. Then she once more cried out, "Anne, Sister Anne, do you see anyone coming?" "I see," said her sister, "a cloud of dust, and a little to the left." "Do you think it's my brothers?" said the wife. "Alas, no, dear sister," replied she. "It's only a flock of sheep. My bad."
God, what?
Yep,
This girl's retarded.
My mistake, sister that's waiting to not die. "Will you come down, madam?" said Bluebeard in the greatest rage. I probably shouldn't have said it so pleasantly.
In the greatest of rage.
That's right. "Only one single moment more," said she, and then she called out for one last time, "Sister Anne, for fuck's sake, do you see anyone coming?" "I see," replied her sister, "2 men on horseback coming," which is gross and kind of hot.
They are on the Brokeback Mountain.
That'd be weird if that's where Bluebeard lived, since
they're Brokeback Mountain.
Since they're French.
Huh.
I don't know. But they're still a great ways off. "Thank God," she cried. "They are my brothers. Beckon them to make haste." Bluebeard now cried out so loud for her to come that his voice...
I was just thinking about the Brokeback Mountain joke too.
We just have dirty minds. Is the thing. That his voice shook the whole house. The poor lady, with her hair loose and in all tears, now came down and fell to her knees, begging him to spare her life. But he stopped her, saying, "All this is of no use, for you shall die. I mean, he's matter of fact
So
and to the
tenderly,
point.
yes.
You know, it's refreshing, kind of, though, because you don't have to worry about him tiptoeing around the important things. You know,
He was like, hey, listen, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's store policy. I got to kill you.
Just be like, shh. I'm glad this isn't audio. And then, seizing her by the hair, raised his scimitar to strike off her head.
Oh, scimitar?
No, Cimeter. Scimitar.
Oh, okay, I don't know that.
I mean, it might just be a weird spelling of scimitar, I guess. The poor woman now begged a single moment to say one prayer. No, no, said Bluebeard. I will give you no more time.
He already gave her like 7.5 minutes. What more she want?
As he goes on to say, you've had too much already. Like, what? I'm just. You're just going to be spoiled at that point.
Wait, you just want like
You're
10
just like,
minutes?
all the time.
I don't have all day. I got another wife to find.
That's right, and ahead. And again he raised his arm. Just at this instant, a loud knocking was heard at the gates, which made Bluebeard wait for a moment to see who it was. Like, who is it? And then he's going to cut her head off. Like, just... The gates now flew open, and 2 officers dressed in their uniform came in and with their swords in their hands ran straight to Bluebeard, who, seeing they were his wife's brothers, tried to escape from their presence. Because if it was just regular cops, whatever.
Well, at least he has the decency not to, like... He's like, oh, well, these are her brothers, so I mean, I can't.
Well, because he's like, I should probably try to escape with my life, you know? He tried to escape, but they pursued and seized him before he had gone 20 steps, and plunging their swords into his body, he fell down dead at their feet. The poor wife, who was almost dead as her husband, was not able at first to rise and embrace her brothers, but she soon came to herself, and as Bluebeard had no heirs, she found herself the owner of all of his great riches. She gave a part of his vast fortune as a marriage dowry to her sister Anne, who soon after became the wife of a young gentleman who had long loved her. That's sweet. It's a good that's a good part of the story, even though she was a total cunt earlier. There's some sheep outside. Does that help?
Stupid.
Some of the money she laid out in buying captain's commissions for her 2 brothers, and the rest she gave to a worthy gentleman whom she married shortly after, whose kind treatment soon made her forget Bluebeard's cruelty.
Well, that's nice.
The end. Isn't it good that she gave her all of her money and wealth to like another guy though, and then that guy was like, okay, I'll treat you well?
It's like, okay, I was gonna smack you around a little bit, but I mean, you just gave me like 5 milli, so I mean, shit. That's what he said.
Yeah,
he told me, dude. I talked to him actually before this episode. I want to like do my research before.
I saw it. I saw it. You did it on the thing with the where you can see the person that you're.
Oh yeah, I forgot to put it there.
Yeah. So that's why they called him the Bluebeard of Gambais, because he like totally sexed up all these sexy ladies, and then
the stories
and they were dead.
Has so many parallels, like
they both had beards.
Well, yeah, and they have to wait for the second part of the episode, which we already recorded. I don't know if you're gonna let them know about that.
Oh yeah.
As a footnote, be like, hey, we already did this, but like Chris didn't record more than 12 minutes.
Yeah, we already recorded part 2, which is why it's not out yet, because Chris's shit stopped way super early, and for some reason mine is missing random little tiny chunks in a 3-minute chunk.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm 3 minutes short on the episode. Because otherwise, okay? Oh yeah, you were good.
I'm the savior of this shit. I mean, tell you, man, y'all need to step it up. I'm over here working my ass off.
There's no savior, James. Sometimes everyone loses.
That's true.
Sometimes everyone loses. Iraqi war. Yeah. War on drugs.
The Vietnam War.
Vietnam War.
Most wars. And when you think about it.
Really, and now that's I guess why it's just like aggressions and occupations, and we don't call them wars anymore.
Yeah, it's just like, grr, I don't like you. Grr, you're short.
Or you say like war on terror, like a whole. Hey, listen to that. See, told you we were at a place that does stuff that James has to get paid for doing. So, countdown. 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Oh